Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Skip claims last night was more about the Eagles falling back than the Packers stepping up. ATL is in the house today as 2 Chainz comes by to lend his thoughts on the Dez and Josh Norman feud. Defensive great John Lynch is also here to declare why New England and Dallas have a good enough defense. Plus, our friend Chris Broussard jumps in the debate to say why Westbrook needs to keep this level of play up to get OKC in the NBA playoffs. Finally, the guys break down who they believe will be the last 4 standing in the college football playoff after all is said and done. Let's debate. The Packers ended their 4-game losing streak with a 27-13 win against the Eagles last night. Aaron Rodgers threw for over 300 yards with 2 touchdown passes. This was the first time in the last 5 games the Packers defense held a team under 30 points. Both teams are now 5-6. Shannon, are the Packers back?
No. I looked at their schedule. Can they win out from here? They have the Bears. They have the Vikes again. They have Detroit. I think they have one tough game. That's at home with Seattle. So, yeah. But, Skip, his problem is his team, not with Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers was 30 of 38, 319 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And the throws that he was completing last night, people was like, his receivers can't get open. But if you look at the second touchdown that he hit to Devontae Adams, that guy wasn't open. And I didn't hear the volume, but I can imagine what was being said. Only a handful of quarterbacks, maybe just one, Aaron Rodgers, can make that throw.
You were correct. That got said last night.
See, now, because I don't listen to the sound, Skip, so I don't know what was said, but I can just imagine. Now, he made that throw. The guy wasn't open.
You're talking about the one Nolan Carroll?
Yes, right here it is, right here, Skip.
Nolan, just catch it.
Let me ask you a question.
Just catch it.
Okay.
It's an interception. It's right there. All you have to do is just go like that. And right?
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Was that guy open?
No.
See, he made that throw. Only Aaron Rodgers could make that throw. Now, if the guy had knocked the ball down, everybody would have said, well, who's open? You see?
Nobody's open. Yeah.
When he makes a great play, Aaron Rodgers is great. When it doesn't go his favor, his receivers are terrible. That's first and foremost. But here's the thing, Skip. Their defense is going to be the undying of this football team. Because if you look at the first 4 games, they were average giving up, 42 yards a game rushing, less than 2 yards per carry. Since then, 117 yards per game, 4.6 a carry. In 3 of those games, the team has rushed for over 150 yards. I don't worry about Aaron Rodgers because he's going to be Aaron Rodgers. But he has to play flawless. He has to play like this in order for them to have a chance. Because if he's off slightly, they're not winning because he doesn't have the defense that he has when Charles Woodson first arrived and they could take the ball away if Aaron had a bad game. If he has a bad game now, you see what normally happened the last 4 games, they were giving up 30+. He had a great game. Defense played a little better. Now they held the team to 13 points.
Thank you. I was curious how you were going to go with this. I was afraid you were going to leap back on bandwagon with both feet and might even be driving the A-Raj bandwagon, right? Nope. Thank you. Now, that's objectivity. Way to go. So, back to the question. The Pack was definitely back for one night.
Yes.
But that last night was more about the crumbling Eagles than the rising Packers to me.
Okay.
And I remind everyone, the Philadelphia Eagles are now 2-6 since their bye week. 2-6 since Carson Wentz was presented for Hall of Fame enshrinement, right?
I was about to ask you, Skip.
Right.
So did they start losing once he got compared to Peyton Manning
and Brett Favre, right? That might have been a turning point for them in this season. But in the end, Aaron Rodgers, look, I like to watch Aaron Rodgers. He is fun to watch.
Yes.
He is great for the National Football League. He was great for ESPN last night, and I assume the show he put on helped boost the ratings last night. I don't know that for a fact, but he is box office.
He is. He's big time.
And if you let him get outside the pocket, he is especially box office because that's where he will carve you up. And he started early on to carve up the Eagles. And then, of course, early second half, he scrambled too far to the sideline, and I guess he tweaked his hamstring, and he was back to his insufferable self after the game, his arrogant, insufferable self. Aaron Rodgers saying, I knew it was becoming a big story on television, so he had to go behind the little enclosure, to get it retaped. And he was back for one night to being Aaron Rodgers. So let me finish on the Packers before I get to Carson Wentz. So if you look at the schedules, as you did, this division is still up for grabs, but I still believe the Detroit Lions are going to win it because they still have a 2-game lead over the Packers, 7-4 to 5-6, right?
And they've already beaten them head to head.
And they've already beaten them, and they
lost. They lost.
They lost it at Green Bay, but they get that they have to go to Detroit on the last Sunday of the regular season. Now, Minnesota ain't out of it yet. My Cowboys have to deal with them Thursday night up in Minneapolis. They're at 6-5. But I still say at 7-4, Detroit has enough of a cushion, enough of an edge that they can win a couple of more games and get home as the division winner. And I still say that Matthew Stafford is playing at an even higher level than Aaron Rodgers was playing at even last night. But now, let's get back to the home team that had not lost a home game all year until last night. Will somebody please help me with this? Because I keep bringing up on the show the continuing over-the-top over-glorification of one Carson Wentz. I just don't get it. And I'm sure he's a great kid, but that's all I hear. He's such a great young man, and he has taken over this locker room and this franchise and this team, and he's becoming a great what? I'm serious. Can you explain this to me? Because I keep waiting and watching, and he makes, did you see that athletic scramble? Fortunately, you had the sound down. And again, I love John Gruden. I do. I'm friends with him. I have a lot of respect for him. But it almost became the theme of the night, what a great kid this is and how he's emerging as a great player. Right now, his QBR, again, my favorite stat, 0 to 100, is 48 for the season. That's 30th in the National Football League. That's 1 rung ahead of Ryan Fitzpatrick and 2 rungs ahead of Case Keenum. That's what you're getting right now. Wow. Can you give him the rookie excuse? Well, Dak's not getting it right now. Dak Prescott, that guy, the guy who plays for. I keep hearing it. Well, you heard that, yes, right? But I keep hearing that on all the broadcasts. He can't be sort of ranked as graded as a rookie anymore because he's played he's won 10 games in this league, so he's beyond rookie status. But this kid, Carson Wentz, sometimes you spell it W-I-N-C-E, as in
I knew
right?
you were going to say that.
Okay, because this kid will repeatedly make that one mistake as he did last night, the interception to Clinton Dix, and when I watch him, I'm sort of afraid for him because he always keeps me on edge because he's never seemingly quite sure what he's going to do. It's a little bit, it's a little hyper in the pocket. It's a little happy-footed. It's a little deer in headlights occasionally. I see the big arm. I see the strength. I see occasional accuracy, but it comes and it goes. Right. And he is often wild high. So after the overglorification of comparing him, his new head coach, who's also a rookie, right?
Yes.
Comparing him to both Peyton Manning and Brett Favre, he has really struggled over the last 8 games. And they have struggled. And their defense, slowly but surely, which I thought was going to be a pretty solid unit under Jim Schwartz, it has lost confidence and lost its way. So bottom line, last night, uninspired by the quarterback, Carson Wentz, who managed 13 points against a defense that we would both agree is one of the worst in the National Football League. Think of that. Bottom line, Carson Wentz at home scored 13 points, or his offense scored 13 points against the Green Bay defense. It left his team flat. It was uninspiring. And in the end, it was why they couldn't keep pace. For a while, I thought it was going to be 50-49 at the first of the game, right?
Yes.
It got off to that kind of a start. But in the end, he just fell completely off the pace. Aaron Rodgers got his swag back. He started to strut his stuff again. And if you let him get that way, if you let him get hot early, that's what he's doing. He's giving it that. And all of a sudden, and I appreciate you bringing this up because all we heard were the Aaron Rodgers excuses, the memorial excuses about, well, he didn't have anybody to throw to. Well, then the new big theme last night was Devontae Adams is emerging as one of the top receivers in the NFL. Well, he's been there all year, right? So what happened? What was the problem? I don't know. But last night, he catches 5 balls for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns. I said yesterday on the show, I thought Jordy would snap out of it and snap back. So he targeted him 12 times last night, and he caught 8 for 91. That'll work. And little Randall Cobb, again, he doesn't seem to have any wavelength with Aaron Rodgers, but all of a sudden he emerges and he catches 6 balls for 41 yards that were big balls, and they
Big
convert
third down
10
conversion.
times on third down, 10 out of 14. And it all happened because this defense kept letting him get outside the pocket and shred them, carve up the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Eagles have lost their way. They've fallen to the bottom of the NFC East after we thought they were the hottest thing maybe in the NFC early on.
And remember, this is a defense that at home was allowing under 10 points a game. Now, the Packers, their last 2 road games, they gave up 47 at Tennessee. They gave up 42 to the Washington team. They gave up 31 at home to the Colts. So this was a defense that were reeling.
Yeah.
And somehow at home, and we thought the Eagles were going to be better because, early on, they looked like a very good team. We saw what they did to the Pittsburgh Steelers in their building. They took them apart. And for whatever reason, I don't know if he's hit a wall. Maybe we overhyped him. Maybe we wanted that to be because we had 2 quarterbacks, young rookie quarterbacks in the same division, and we were building it up. I think maybe the second week we were already talking about, is this the new Peyton Manning, Tom Brady? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. After 3-4 games, we're going to talk about, is this the new rivalry that's going on in the National Football League? Maybe we made more of it than what needed to be made. Clearly, the Eagles are heading in a different direction than what the Packers are headed, but I don't really consider the Packers, even if they get into the playoffs, who could they beat, honestly? One game with that defense, because you're going to get maybe a Washington team. You saw what Kirk Cousins did to you. You're going to get a Cowboys team. Now, we'll find out how well they're going to do against the Seahawks. But I don't think they can pressure Russell. They can take advantage of the weakness of the offensive line that the Seattle have to take advantage of that. So we'll find out a lot more. But if Aaron Rodgers is going to play like this, 30 of 39 for 313 and a couple of touchdowns, they're going to be difficult to beat. But he has to play flawless because his team is flawed.
Well, I just hope he plays one more game like this, and that is December the 11th at Lambeau Field. I need him to come up big. You got to do it for me because I've been your biggest supporter.
No, you
Aaron
haven't.
Rodgers.
You
got to come up big. I need 30 of 39 for 331. I need 10 of 14 on third down. I need it on December 11th at Lambeau against the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, he was listening to you yesterday. Did you a favor yesterday? You asked him,
I know. Just do away with the Eagles, and I think he buried the Eagles for me. Thank you.
Why are you so afraid of Seattle? What is it about them?
Their defense.
Hold up, but you got
I respect them.
You got Dak. He's the number 1 QBR in all of football.
I'm glad you brought that up. You just said that, but you said it facetiously, and I hear nobody talk about Dak Prescott. I still hear a lot more about Carson Wentz than I do about Dak Prescott, who is leading the entire NFL in QBR, while Carson, W-I-N-C-E, is ranked 30th in QBR. And yet, for 3 weeks, all I heard, even on this show, was Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott. Long term, you got to take Carson Wentz. No, you don't. And Dak continues to do nothing but win football games completely efficiently. He's gone now, 5 straight games without a turnover against tough, top-quality opponents?
I just find it hard for me to believe that Mr. Bayless, the guy that he said should be the National Football League's most valuable player,
He should be.
who leads the league in QBR,
Yep.
is worried about a team that is tied with the Los Angeles Rams with 3 games in which they haven't reached the end zone. And Skip Bayless is worried about that with Dak Prescott?
Well, who else would I be worried about? The Giants?
You got Jesus and Cleats playing quarterback for
I
the
didn't
American
say that.
team.
No, I didn't say that.
But
you know what? When I hear what a great young man Carson Wentz is, I think Dak Prescott's is equally great young man. I've heard nothing bad about Dak Prescott.
Although I would like all football players to be great young men, my quarterback, I want him to win.
Thank
I
you.
want him to be able to put me into the end zone. I want him to be
Like
able to
10 in a row? You want him to win 10 straight games?
So I wish people stop saying
Right.
that. Look, he's not running for a senior class president. He's not running for public office. So stop talking about he's a great young man. Is he? And that's when you do games, when you're color, you have to put on a positive spin, Skip. So you got to say everybody, because if you didn't know anything about football and you just watch and just listen, all 53 guys can play. All 53 guys are going to the Hall of Fame, which you and I know is not true. sometimes, can we call it like we see it? He's not playing very well. Stop saying, but see, that's a cover-up. When you say he's a good young man, okay, what about his talent? Is he supposed to be a quarterback, or is he supposed to be a public office figure?
But then fans would accuse you of being biased.
So what do I expect the fans? They're fanatic for their particular team.
Right, but if you're watching.
But everybody, even if you say Aaron Rodgers is the greatest thing, oh, you don't mean it. So you can't win either way. So I've learned a long time ago, if you worry about what the fans say, pretty soon you'll be up in the stands with them, cheering for and against someone else. So you just got to speak openly and honestly. But he's a great young man. Okay, I get all that.
All right.
But is he helping his team? Being a great young man, how many wins does that equate to, Skip?
None.
Okay.
But it helps if you are a great man, if you're a really good player, too.
Absolutely.
It's a good combination.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
And Dak has that. But back to your question, it's a valid one. I'm not afraid of the Seahawks, but am I concerned about having to play at Seattle in the NFC Championship game? Why wouldn't I be? Is that not the toughest venue in sports?
Hold on.
Have they not been to 2 Super Bowls with that defense?
Yes.
Yes?
But you have the second greatest offensive line ever assembled in the history of football behind that mid-90s Dallas line. You have the greatest quarterback playing who's going to be MVP this year in Dak Prescott.
Well, I just said he was through whatever we are, 11 games. He is through 11 games. That's all I've said. They got a tough schedule down the stretch.
You got the guy that's going to be either MVP
Okay, what has my team proven in the postseason? This group together has proven how much? How about none? How about that?
That's why I'm sitting over here in the catbird seat.
I need Aaron Rodgers to take care of Seattle the way he took care of the Eagles. That's all I need.
I do not want the Cowboys to lose in the regular season. I want them to be 15-1.
Do you? I'll take that.
And then come playoff time. Because, see, if they lose now, it won't hurt you, Skip. It won't even bother you like, okay, they needed that because everybody said.
Michael Irvin said that last week. They need to win, lose again.
Yeah. So it wouldn't hurt you now.
Yep.
But come playoff time, the division or the championship game.
You know what? If you'll give me 15-1, I will take it. And you know what will happen off 15-1? Super Bowl will happen. That's what will happen.
You know what will happen? They lose in the first round. Oh, Skip. Oh.
Are you willing to bet on that right now?
Hey. I'm going to see that matchup, and I might be willing to do a Mountain Dew fountain in your dressing room.
Yeah, okay.
I can tell you right now why Skip is concerned about Seattle. Because he's objective.
Thank you.
No mercy. The Cowboys have the best record in the NFL and are on a franchise record 10-game winning streak. But Dallas has the second worst pass defense in the NFL. The Raiders and the Patriots are tied for the best record in the AFC, but their defenses have struggled as well this season. We're joined by a Super Bowl champion and a member of one of the best defenses in NFL history, John Lynch. Welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Newly elected to 2 teams Hall of Fame. The
Very
Broncos,
fancy.
Ring of Fame, Broncos and Tampa.
Wow.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank
Way
you,
to
buddy.
go.
I appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Steve.
And by the way, Derek Brooks continues to text us and say that was the best defense ever. Is he right about that?
Attaboy. I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so. But, hey, that's why you have shows like this to discuss that, right?
They had 3 pick sixes, 5 sacks, 5 interceptions in a Super Bowl game.
Not bad.
I know Shannon probably feels pretty strongly about another defense.
That's without the Ravens.
And I can't argue.
Well, can you win a Super Bowl with a below-average defense?
You know, I think you can, particularly this year. And I think the reason why, I'm out there every week, I don't see any great team. I don't see a team without flaws. And, when I look at, I think the irony, in this year is we're coming off a year where an outstanding, one of the great defenses, single-season defenses of all time, won a Super Bowl, put a below-average offense on their back and won it. I don't think I would put Dallas and New England in that bad defense category. They're both top 5 scoring defenses. And that's ultimately, you put all the numbers up there, it comes down to how many points do you give up and do you take the ball away. Both those defenses have excelled in scoring defense. And so, and then the Raiders. I think the Raiders are the one that falls into a really shaky defense. But I watched that game the other night, and a guy who wears 52, Khalil Mack, he's a type of player that can put a defense on his back, and he's starting to play like that. So I think, the other thing, it's the beginning of December. This is where people really start to separate. So a lot of it is health going into the postseason and what you do in this last month. I think back to the Colts in 2005, when they won their Super Bowl. That was an awful defense all year. Bob Sanders came back. they started playing great in the postseason.
Right. And they did have Freeney and Mathis, so you got a chance,
Bookends,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can also, because you look at the 2009 Saints, and they're at defense, but they took the ball away, and they took a pick six, and it took an onside kick to start the second half. So you got to get extra possession for your offense to give yourself some cushion, because if defense is like what they play in Dallas, you're going to give up a lot of yardage, and there are going to be times that you might crack. So you need to put some distance between you and the prolific offense if you're going up against one of those. See, because the thing is, I think let's just say for the sake of argument, Dallas played New England. Tom Brady's going to put some points on the board. Now, you're going to have to find one way to steal an extra possession for Zeke and Dak Prescott, because I don't believe you can go toe-to-toe with them, because I believe Tom Brady will not – he'll put Dak in a situation that he has yet to be in. Because if you get down to that team 10 points, that's different than being down 14 to San Francisco the second or third game in the season.
Okay.
So if you can get an extra possession, maybe you get a turnover on defense, maybe you get a punt, they fumble a punt, or they fumble a kickoff or something like that, Skip, it gives you an opportunity. But the way they're playing right now, if the Cowboys play defense the way they're playing right now, I don't believe they can beat New England.
Unless New England didn't get the football enough. That's the only way you do it, which brings me back to my Dallas Cowboys. I've never seen anything quite like the way they are playing football. The formula is, the old cliche is more than one way to skin the cat. This is a new way that I've never really seen executed before, the way they continue to execute it.
But they're only skinning the cat one way, Skip, with time of possession.
That's it. But they lead the league in time of possession.
Yes.
I'll be the first to admit I do not love this defense. The eye test, it does not pass. It has no real star. Sean Lee is a very good player. Is he a superstar? Is he a game-changing Khalil Mack?
Is he
Nope.
Kuechly?
Nope, he's not that guy. And after that, I can't give you anybody. They have nobody who can rush the passer, and they could not put a second's worth of pressure on Kirk Cousins the other day. He stood back there. It was 7-on-7 the whole game, which is why he threw for 449. Now, are they well coached by Rod Marinelli, who you know very well?
Absolutely.
Yes, they are. Do they have a spirit and a unity as much as you can get with the lack of ability that you have? Yes, they do. They play cohesive, together football. They're pretty good in the red zone, but I can't give you numbers. But they will make an occasional play, as they did against Kirk. Maybe he beat himself. Maybe he just didn't make the play. But 3 times in the red zone, they failed to cash in, and that was the difference in that football game. So can you continue with a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back? Can you continue to dominate time of possession with long scoring drives where you continue to convert on third down? Execute. You guys, you know how hard this is to just keep doing it against a good team.
It is.
Play after play after play. These are 10-play drives, 12-play drives, 13-play drives by a rookie quarterback. And if you can continue to do that, and they are third in points scored, which is extraordinary. They're ahead of New England in points scored. Then, theoretically, hypothetically, against New England, if you won time of possession 36-24, could you win the game? Sure you could. That's just me. But that's a new deal. And I'm not sure that's going to stand the test of time through the...
You know what's unique about that team, though? You talk about the rookie quarterback, the rookie running back. And I think it's a great example for the rest of the league, because seemingly the rest of the league has just said, you know what, we can throw guys in at the offensive line and we'll make it work with great quarterbacks. What they've done, they have the best offensive lineman in football. And I don't think it's close. Collectively, the best offensive line. So that's helped Dak and that's helped Zeke.
Sure.
Can they keep it up? We'll see. I think another interesting team you can throw in this equation that we haven't talked about, the Atlanta Falcons.
And you
I
just
just
saw
did their
them.
game this weekend, and you talk about an explosive offense. Now they've got this Taylor Gabriel kid.
They've
They've added speed
They
opposite
got
of
Coleman
Julio.
back, too. That's going to help them in the run game.
Yeah, and the defense, they're not good.
No.
But what they can do of late, they can rush the passer. So
Yes.
when you're playing with leads,
Just because of
That
Vic
becomes
Beasley, right?
Vic Beasley, but I tell you, I think what happened, they brought Dwight Freeney in. This is a guy who lives and breathes pass rushing.
Yeah.
He's had an impact on Vic Beasley. He's had an impact on that entire team, and he's starting to put some production. So that's a scary team to deal with
And
as well.
especially on turf.
Yeah.
Because Atlanta, in that building, or they would have to go to Dallas. But my question is, and this is what I always ask, if you're not playing your best game offensively, can the Dallas defense win your game? Because there are a lot of times that even when as the Ravens, we didn't play our best, but when our defense struggled, they struggled early against Jacksonville. We had to score 38, 39 points.
Early in the season.
Early in the
right?
season.
Yeah, I remember.
Late in the season, we played the Jets. Jets got out on us. I think we scored like 17-7. We ended up coming back and ended up beating them, I think, like 31-28. The question is, if Zeke and Dak, that offense is off just slightly, can that defense carry them home? Do you feel comfortable in that? That's the question you have to ask yourself, Skip.
Well, I'll answer it. No, I don't. I don't. I mean, how can I?
Yeah.
What do I have to show? What can I tell you? I have no pass rush whatsoever.
Right.
I have 4 pretty good defensive linemen who play their technique.
Right.
They're in the right place at the right time, but they can't get home to the passer.
Right.
Okay, well then I got an issue.
Because if you're off, there's a chance that if you're off, you're going to probably see the Falcons. You're going to see Seattle, who has a terrible offensive line, but you don't have pass rushers that can take advantage of it. You might see Aaron Rodgers again. And so if you look, you might see Matthew Stafford. You're going to see guys that can throw the football and can go get 300, can get you 3 touchdowns. And your offense struggles just slightly. You're going home. And that's the sad part, that you squandered such a great, and when you look at it, 96, we had the number 1 offense, and we had a slightly off day, and Jacksonville beat us. And all that, and all you're going to do is sit back and think, like, man, we scored 500 points. We led the league in scoring. We led the league in yards. And it's all for naught. Because at the end of the day, all this is what Dallas is doing. If they don't get to and get that chip, Skip.
With the rookie quarterback, you're putting all that pressure on him?
You did it.
I didn't say a word.
Every day you talk about his QBR, he's lapped the field.
I didn't say he's lapped the field. He's leading the field.
Joy, who does this before it? Zeke, go eat him. You know.
And maybe he'll keep doing that.
Shannon, you made a great point, though. It's collective, and I learned it the other way, being on a great defense. We were a great defense for a long time. We won 1 Super Bowl because we would get to the playoffs. All of a sudden, we weren't holding people to 9 points.
Right.
You go against great offenses in the playoff, they're going to get their 20, so our offense had to show up.
Right.
We finally won a Super Bowl when John Gruden came in, and our offense got hot come playoff time, and they were scoring 24, 25 points a game. So it takes a collective effort. Even the Broncos last year, they did some things offensively come playoff time.
Right.
So it's got to be collective.
Yeah, you can't rely entirely on the defense. That's for sure. Right, Shannon?
Oh, what about
You gotta
the
have big
Dolphins?
play shot.
How's the Dolphins?
You know what? This is really
What
nuts.
about the-
Anything I say rubs you the wrong way. You just like
the Dolphins?
dagger.
I love Adam
Dolphins.
Gase. I tell you what. He's
Dolphins
getting
are
those guys
winning.
to play.
Relax. Anyway, we have the Super Bowl. It will be on Fox on February 5th.
No mercy.
Russell Westbrook got his 3rd straight triple-double last night against the Knicks in New York. He is now averaging a triple-double this season. Joining us now is our NBA analyst, Chris Broussard. Chris, welcome.
Chris?
Good to see you. Can the Thunder contend with Westbrook playing this way?
Contend for a playoff spot, home court advantage. I mean, there's no way. And it's nothing that, obviously, he's playing great, but there are 4 contenders in the NBA, and that's it. That's not changing. And if you look at them, this is why. They've all got at least a big 2. San Antonio's got 2 legitimate stars, LaMarcus Aldridge, Kawhi Leonard. Cleveland has a big 3, especially with the way Kevin Love's playing. That's a legit big 3 now. The Clippers have a big 3, Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan. And Golden State's got a big 4, you know?
And Redick is averaging 15 points for the Clippers.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, they got depth, galore. So, no, they can't contend. I think, and going into the season, I felt this way, they could contend for that home court advantage. That 4th seed in the East or in the West. Memphis and Houston are playing better than I expected. I thought Portland would be the team to battle with them, and I think Portland will still get it together. But OKC could finish anywhere between 4 and 7. Now, what I do think is possible that is surprising, at least to me, if Westbrook keeps this up and averages this triple-double or close, I actually think he can win the MVP with maybe 44 wins. I think they could finish 7th in the West and he wins the MVP because this is so unprecedented. A triple-double by a dude who's probably, we're talking 6'2", maybe 6'3", could lead the league also in points and assists and still average a triple-double. Like, this is phenomenal. And if you look at the other candidates, I mean, LeBron, I don't think people recognize how well he's really playing.
He's averaging about 11 assists a game.
Yeah, I mean, but I think it's below the radar because he's not leading the team in scoring.
Yep.
I think people feel like, okay, he's not. Kawhi is just so low key.
He got off to a good start. He's kind of leveled off.
Leveled off a little. Harden, no defense.
No.
You know, so, and I think KD and Steph will cancel each other out.
They will.
I think the thing is no, they're not. He can't contend. They can't contend for a championship. Can they contend for a playoff spot? Yes. Chris, you think they can be 4? I think they can be anywhere from 5 to 8. I think Utah's going to catch him. I think Utah's going to catch him as soon as he broke his pinky finger early in the season, but he's coming back from that. Once he gets back on track, I think he'll do well. But when you look at this, the Warriors got Durant averaging 27, Curry averaging 26, Clay, who hasn't played well, he's averaging 20. And you look at the Spurs. The Spurs, Patty Mills averaging 11 points. So you got Kawhi, but they got 5 guys averaging double figures. Yeah. The Clippers have 5 guys averaging double figures. And Westbrook has to average a triple-double in order for them to win or get close to it. He's got to be somewhere between 25 and above points, somewhere around 10 and above assists, or right there around, 8, 9, 10 rebounds. If he doesn't get that, they don't win.
Yeah.
So are you going to count on Oladipo? You're going to count on Cantor? Steven Adams seems to have taken a step back. He does not look like the same guy that played in the playoffs last year. He was a monster last year in the playoffs. Now,
AD drew some attention for him.
Yeah. So when I look at it, I think LeBron is going to win the MVP because they're going to win somewhere between 60 and 65 games, and he's going to average around 24, 25 points with 11 assists and 8 rebounds. With that, they're going to we can't give it to Russell, who won 40 games.
Even if he averages a triple-double? I'm with you. I picked LeBron too, but, man, that's unprecedented.
I just don't, because you averaging a triple-double and you're the 5th seed.
That's pretty impressive. I mean, I think it'll be a good argument. It'll be a good argument.
65 wins with 24, with LeBron 24, because
and this would be LeBron's probably his last MVP.
Yeah.
If he gets this one. So
Russell Westbrook is going to win the MVP. Russell, I said it before the year, he's going to average a triple-double. This team is going to be the 4 seed, and with home court, it'll win a round, and it's going to put fear of God in somebody in the second round because this guy I've never seen anything like. In all my years covering this league, I told Shannon earlier in the show, it's hard for me. It's hard to take my eyes off Monday Night Football, and last night Russell Westbrook accomplished that. I couldn't stop watching Russell at Madison Square Garden because it is must-see TV. I'm not saying that I'm applauding the way it's unfolding because it is self-centered to a fault. It is egomania. It is
but they
the
need
highest
him to do
usage
that, right?
rate. I know. He's got to get – listen, Enes Kanter is pretty – he doesn't play any defense, but he can really score the basketball down low. He had 27 and 10 last night. I'm starting to like this team more than you like this team. Oladipo averages 17. Russell just has to make sure he keeps everybody somewhat in the flow. He can't take 30 shots a game, as we talked about. He needs to take 20-ish, 25-ish maybe. But listen, nobody plays with consistent rage, controlled rage, the way this guy does.
Nope.
I've never seen anything like the way he rebounds the basketball. He went swooping through the lane last night and snatched a couple of rebounds that just took my breath away. I said, how did he do that at 6'2 or 6'3? He can, obviously, he just jumps out of the gym, but he jumps with such passion and rage. Like he's going to get the basketball every time. And I've never seen anybody play so hard for so long as he plays every night.
Right.
Now, again, is it self-centered playing hard or is it team playing? I don't know, and I don't care at this point. It is starting to work. Now, the thing is, can he stay healthy taking this much punishment? Because he has taken rebound punishment every night, the way Iverson took driving punishment every night, right? Yeah. And after a while, Iverson's little body just wore out. He just couldn't take it.
He's much bigger than
he
that.
He is.
He's a
I agree.
legitimate.
Chris, let me ask you this. Okay, we forget the 4-headed, 3-headed monsters. If you just take the 2 best players, say from Golden State, the Cavaliers, the Spurs, the Clippers, and maybe Toronto, would you say Russell and Oladipo, or Russell and Cantor are better than any of those 2?
Maybe Toronto, that's it. But the contenders, no way. It's not even close, right?
That's what you got to look at.
Not even close.
Forget Clay and Draymond and all that other stuff. Forget the benches of. If you just take the two, just take the two best players. You take LeBron and Kyrie, or do you want Oladipo, Cantor, and Westbrook?
Yeah, no way.
You want Kawhi and LaMarcus, or you want Oladipo and Westbrook? You want Durant and Curry. So that's
I know, but Westbrook increases that equation every time you throw it out there. I'm thinking it is Westbrook.
Don't sleep on Portland.
So are you?
I'm sleeping on Portland. I'm sleeping.
I'm asking you two questions now. One, do you seem to think they are a legitimate contender? Like, could they upset Golden State in the second round? Are you
I don't think they
that?
can beat Golden State, but they can make. They'll push them. It will
that's
not
who,
be simple.
It might be 1-4,
It
or
probably
it could be the Clippers, I guess.
it
I'm
could
just
be.
asking because you said you like them
what?
better than me, and you think they could.
Okay,
scare
they
somebody
went
in
to the
second
Clippers
round?
early, and Russell did not have a very big game
So you're saying
assistant.
Clippers
They
are-
won at the Clippers 85-83. They're capable of doing that. Could they do it over 7 games? They could scare the Clippers.
I
for
think
sure.
his physicality does impact
it
Chris
wears
Paul.
on people.
Like
Yep.
I mean, Chris Paul is phenomenal,
Yep.
but the fact that Westbrook is so overwhelmingly athletic does give him problems.
Can we stop? We know they're not going past the second round.
No, I don't think. I was trying to see if Skip was saying.
San Antonio and Golden State will run through OKC like foreign water through a tourist. We already know how this is going to end.
I
So let's
think
stop
the
playing,
Clippers-
Chris.
They would. I'm with you. They lose in the second round, but I do think they scare the Clippers more than Golden State. I don't think they have a
Or
shot.
San Antonio.
You know what?
Or
I
San Antonio.
think they would scare San Antonio because Oladipo and Robertson can defend like crazy. Robertson's as good a defender as I see.
He ain't gonna do no
he
with
took
Kawhi.
Melo last night, and he did a number on Melo. Melo missed
Yeah,
like
he was
11
4 for
straight
19
shots
or
at
something.
one point.
So my second question was, do you think Westbrook, because you talked about big twos,
Yeah.
are you saying he's the best player in the league?
He's going to win
Because
the MVP.
LeBron, changed LeBron. I think LeBron's still the best player in the league.
It's not even close.
Yeah, I don't.
It's not even close.
Okay, I'd rather watch Russell than LeBron, and I like to
Yeah,
watch
I get
LeBron,
that,
like
yeah.
just on box office. But I'll buy that. I still
I
think
think I
LeBron
would
is
take
better all
KD
around basketball.
still over Westbrook.
That's close.
Because
That is a
KD
close
is
call.
showing out.
But don't.
Hey, but
you know who
hey.
sleeping? You know who you're sleeping on?
Steph?
Uncle Drew.
I love Kyrie. I love him. I love him, but I wouldn't put him ahead of Westbrook. You put him ahead of Westbrook?
No, not right. But I like.
So
to
wait
see
a second. How can you say LeBron's the best player if he's got the best player beside him?
I'm
right?
What,
You just saying
Yeah,
he's
that's
in the
what you just
conversation.
said.
No, what LeBron
Then he's
does-
disqualified. LeBron just got disqualified by you.
LeBron can easily.
Uncle Drew. Huh?
LeBron
Sorry.
said, "Hey, LeBron said, I'm gonna take y'all to the fourth quarter. Come fourth quarter, I'm gonna kick my heels up."
Yeah, and watch,
get him, Uncle Drew.
watch the closer close. I
Get him,
told you
Uncle-
that from the start. The closer on that team is not LeBron James. It's Kyrie. We all know that. He closed the championship.
We let him.
Who hit the shot? He hit the shot.
We blocked the shot.
Yeah,
the
block shot.
The block heard around the world.
There are different ways to close.
Huh? Wait a second. Yeah, J.R.
and
Smith closed on Iguodala before the block occurred. That's
At
what
this
happened.
point, Kyrie is this great scorer. There's no, but I still think at the end of the day, LeBron will lead that team in scoring. I still think he'll end up being the leader.
You see what
Oh,
LeBron?
that's not what he says. He says he doesn't care
He
about
does
scoring.
it.
Right?
That's how effortless
he'll
he
get
get
it.
24, 25 a night. He do it so easy.
If he thinks, I think he'll get it.
Say it with me.
I
Chris.
think.
Yeah.
Who's the baddest man on the planet? LeBron James.
You know what? The baddest man on the
LeBron
planet is
James.
Russell Westbrook.
LeBron
You're not
James.
saying that.
He is the baddest man. I'm not saying he's the best player, but he's the baddest man on the planet.
Look, he's doing this thing.
He's impressive. Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
LeBron James.
No mercy. Tomorrow, we've got a rap legend in the house. Snoop will be here live at 9:30 Eastern on FS1. Let's go from the hip-hop world to battles on the football field. Josh Norman has had feuds with Odell Beckham Jr. and Des Bryant. Now he has 2 words to describe players he feels are against him. Let's take a listen.
Nothing. Trolls and clowns. Trolls and clowns. You're at the top, everybody gun first. So that's what happens.
Trolls and clowns. 2 Chainz, what's your take on Josh Norman?
I mean, I feel like Josh Norman is a very passionate player. I feel like he wears his emotions on his sleeve, obviously. And I also feel like he maybe reads his comments too much. I feel like during the season, and I may be wrong, but during the season, social media should be off limits to certain people because they have figured out a way to, the trolls, as he would call it, have figured out ways to agitate people and to use certain keywords to really get you off your rocker. So I like what LeBron does during the playoffs. He just, like, you don't hear from LeBron on social media. He doesn't look at it. So he doesn't have anything in the back of his mind that he's, you know, because we're all human. And, you know, I have millions of followers, but it's always that one that seems to poke out from the page. And it could either make you have a very, you know, exceptional day, or it can bring you down sometimes. So for Josh, if he is looking at comments, I can see people saying all these negative things or grow up, you know, and not really understanding where his passion is coming from. That's my opinion only. And then secondly, I just feel like someone with his athleticism, with the size that he has such a huge heart that that is just, I mean, it's just cool. Like, it just brings excitement to the game of football to me. I really like to see that.
This is who he is. When you invest this kind of money in a player, you've done your homework. He talked like this before he ever made the kind of money that he's making.
Gotcha.
So you know, and people say money changes you. Money does not change people. It highlights, it accentuates what you already are. This is who he is. He was talking, Ron Rivera said they would have to calm him down. They look, we want you to play, but you can't play like this. We need you to be a different type of a player. Not on the field, but all this other stuff. So we saw a little bit of it last year. We're just starting to see who Josh is because they started winning last year. They were 15-1. He was really the voice of the defense. You know, Cam was dabbing.
That's right.
He was the, you know, he's getting interception. He was riding the pony. And then it all culminated. It came to a head in the Meadowlands. Well, not MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, right.
Against Odell Beckham.
Yep.
And from that point on, he's been a different guy. He's always been the little agitator. He's always been yapping. But for him, once he got the money, now he can say, see, not only am I a good player, I'm playing like I'm a good player. I'm getting paid like I'm a good player.
Yep.
So he's emboldened now. He's not gonna back down from anything that he's gonna say. You say something to him, he's coming right back at you, and he's gonna keep it going. I was a talker, Chain, and I love to talk, and only one time in my career did a coach say, Shannon, I know you want to talk, I know you want to say, have something to say, but just this week, the very first Super Bowl, we were playing the Packers. We're 11 and a half, I think 12-point underdog. That's the only time. He came to me Monday. He said, Shannon, I know you want to talk, and we're going to kick their you know what, but just 1 week, don't give him any bulletin board stuff.
Okay.
Oh, my. Okay.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to beat them bums. I told you we was going to beat this. Sorry. But this is who you is.
Yeah.
This is who he is.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to accept that, because if you ask him to change, you're going to change the player.
Yeah.
So 2 Chainz, you have had your share, or maybe more than your share, of feuds and Twitter beefs, social media
Battles.
conflicts, right? Ludacris, Migos, I could go on. How much of that fuels
love all
you?
of them.
How much? See, well, you do. Okay, so back to Josh. Does this fuel him? I don't know if it's for show. I don't know if he needs it. I don't know. Did you need it? Was it good for you to engage?
It wasn't good for me to engage, because sometimes you do what the person is trying to, you know, get you to do. It's like you reacting. And for me, it's always more positive to show that you have self-control. With him, it's like he can't really get a tech, you know, so to speak. You know, I mean, you know, and so like in basketball, when you wear your sleeve, you know, they can be like, well, send this guy to the locker room because. So you know, one thing about these helmets, we really can't get an idea of their facial expressions.
That's true.
You know, like when their helmets is off, you can look at somebody's face and you be like, yo, Cousins is having a really bad day today, or whoever is having a really bad day. With this right here, you really have to look at body language more than anything. And in sports, we want to see body language. We want to see you, you know, really reacting, hitting the ground, hitting your pass, hitting your other man. So it's really hard to really gauge when Josh is really in the right frame of mind, or if he just really, you know, playing with reckless abandon. Anywhere it goes, it's accepted in NFL, and that's what I like to see it at on the field.
He's definitely good for storylines, that's for
He
sure.
is.
Norman and the Redskins travel to Arizona to play the Cardinals this weekend on Fox. Remember to check out 2chainsshop.com, doing some great stuff.
2chainsshop.com. Go there if you got any stories about, you know, something that you You need, not want. It's two different things. You can go there and put the story up, and you can also go there to read about the stories. And shout out to Atlanta, the Falcons, the Hawks, the Braves.
And your next gig is when?
My next gig is actually Friday here in Los Angeles.
At the Fabulous Forum? Is that
Yeah,
right?
at the Forum. I
Yeah,
actually be playing
at
on the Forum.
Lakerland. man.
Yeah, come on up there, man. You know, and I'm gonna go early enough to get me a shoot around in. They
All
say,
right.
"Don't you got a show tonight?" I'm like, "That's why I'm in here." You know?
Gotta get loose.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for our Dab and Santa sweaters as
Thank you
well,
for
and
having
thanks
me.
for being here. It was a
Thank
great
you,
time.
man.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
You still got them big old. You ever had your fingers broken from like catching?
No, I dislocated a pinky. My ring finger.
Yeah,
No
now
one
he just
ever
busts
had that.
Skip up,
No one
and
had
then
that.
Skip gets him back, and that's what we do now.
Well, I be breaking Skip up.
No.
Yeah.
No mercy. Next up, the college football playoff ranking will be revealed tonight. Number 1, Alabama remains undefeated, but the rest of the ranking is a toss-up. Number 2, Ohio State beat number 3, Michigan over the weekend, while number 4, Clemson, and 5th-ranked Washington easily won their games. Shannon, which 4 teams will end up in the playoff?
I got Alabama 1,
Oh, I'm shocked.
Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, and Alabama backups at 4. Oh, my bad, Skip, I couldn't do that. You mean to tell me Alabama?
I'm going to comment on that. I'm going to let you finish, but I'm going to comment on Alabama backups. I got to write that down.
Oh, I thought I could slip that by you, Skip.
Yeah.
I got Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, and Washington 4. I believe Clemson will handle business against Virginia Tech in the ACC championship game. I don't know how you leave a team that only has 1 loss and won their regular season title and win the conference title. You leave them home in Washington. I think they've done enough. Their body of work will speak for itself. Pac-12 championship, I think they win and they go in. So Alabama, Ohio State.
Okay, so I
Clemson.
assume you have then Wisconsin eliminating Penn State from this equation because Penn State obviously beat Ohio State head-to-head.
Yes.
So,
yes.
right? Is that what you have?
Yes, because when you look at it, Ohio State also has gone on the road and they shellacked Oklahoma. They beat Michigan. They beat Wisconsin. So I think their body of work is good enough for them to get in. Now, do they stay at 2? Maybe not. Maybe Clemson goes to 2 and Ohio State falls back to 3. But I don't see them, even though they're not playing for their conference title, I don't see them falling out of the top 4. There's no way they fall out of the top 4 given their body of work. And the question is, what does the committee do with Michigan? Are they 5 or are they 6? Because all things being equal, you and I both believe they really hope Washington lose. And Clemson lose, so therefore they can put Michigan, and then it would be Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, but do they really want Wisconsin and Penn State in the college playoffs? I mean, can you answer me this, and I'm gonna let you go, Skip. Do you really want to see Alabama play Wisconsin or Penn State?
Wisconsin would be interesting to me. I think Wisconsin could give Alabama some problems just because they're so well coached and they play so hard. They could give them some problems. They would keep it close.
Skip, when all you can do is run the football with really no threat of throwing the ball.
This could be
Alabama,
like a 12 to 10 game.
Alabama, I guarantee you, I bet you the line would open up at plus 17.
I don't know if it'd be that high.
Plus.
It would be double digits, but maybe not 17.
So that's the question. But right now, I got Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Washington, because I believe both teams that's playing championship games this weekend will win and make it very easy for the committee.
I have one question for you.
Okay.
One hypothetical, given that number 4 on your list originally was the Alabama backups.
Mm-hmm.
What if a miracle occurs and Florida upsets Alabama as a 24-point underdog in the SEC
Alabama's
championship
still
game?
in the playoffs.
You still think they're in?
They're still in the playoffs.
I have big issues with that because this SEC this year is highly overrated. I went to school in the SEC, and I'm going to make my point by talking quickly about my school, Vanderbilt. You have ridiculed my football program, have you not?
Yes.
My football program this year, this is football, not baseball. We dominate nationally in baseball.
You don't dominate.
Yes, we do dominate. We're in back-to-back national championship
Did y'all win?
series. Yeah. No, we won the first one, lost the second one. Here's the point. My school in football this year in the Southeastern Conference won at Georgia, beat Ole Miss, beat Tennessee, nearly beat Florida, came very close to beating Florida, nearly beat Auburn, should have beaten South Carolina. That's just, I don't even want to talk about that. but there was a chance that we, the doormat Vanderbilt Commodores, because the SEC is so weak this year, had a chance to win 6 SEC conference football games, 6, and did win 3, and did win 6 total games to become bowl eligible. Way to go, Commodores. Again, I just think it's the best school in America. I don't really care how great we are in football because all that really matters are the academics and in the big picture.
When you got all these Ivy League schools.
You call us Ivy League and we're in the SEC. I appreciate that. Harvard is the Vanderbilt to the north, but that's a whole nother issue. So here's the point. I just drove home to you how bad the SEC is. And Alabama has been feasting on the SEC. So if Alabama loses to Florida, they're out of my Final Four. Because they're completely overrated. They are. Because look at these teams no, you can't read it anyway.
No,
I need it.
What I'm saying.
That's one. That was for a future debate. But anyway,
that's what you should do with that sheet right there.
That was for my Cowboy debate. And you know what? You gave yourself a huge advantage because that stuff would have eliminated you in the Cowboy debate.
That's what you should do.
That was my ammo.
That sheet that you talking about Alabama should be out of the playoffs after they've won.
They should absolutely be out of the playoffs after this is pathetic they did.
They hung 52 on USC.
Yeah, they got hung 43 on by Ole Miss.
You know what?
By Chad Kelly threw for 400 yards. Are you kidding me? And if they lose to Florida, they're out. Out.
Skip, you mentioned Chad Kelly, and you mentioned Arkansas because Allen, that little kid that you said he threw.
He threw for 400 on the dot.
In 2 games, Alabama has given up 73 points. In the 10 games after that, they've given up 66.
Are you including Chattanooga in that?
Okay. I'm gonna throw Chattanooga out. I'm gonna throw Chattanooga out.
How do you get Chattanooga on your schedule in like game number 10?
Okay. In November, they played LSU, who was ranked.
Yeah, nothing to nothing through 3 quarters.
Skip.
Nothing to nothing.
See, Joe, he won't let me talk. Will you please instruct Skip to let me talk?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We're not talking about Chattanooga anymore. We're talking about LSU.
Yeah, I got you. You're
Then we played Auburn in the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
I said we played Auburn in the Iron Bowl. In November, Skip.
Yep.
Alabama Crimson Tide D have yet to allow anyone.
Do I get to talk?
I have yet to see.
Do I get to talk?
I have. If you play on Alabama, you have yet to see the referee make you smell the deodorant. You have yet to see him do this. That's what we call it. When you score a tub, we say, make him smell deodorant.
That's good.
Alabama don't know what that smells like.
You sure those refs wear deodorant?
They don't know.
I'm not sure they
know what
do.
It smells like.
Yeah.
I told you. Yeah.
Time out.
Go ahead, Skip.
Auburn started its backup quarterback in the Iron Bowl. What's his name? Jared Johnson? Seriously? Shane White's out.
We make everybody look like backups.
Oh, okay. That's a gimme.
Our backups to the backups would be stars on any other team. Skip, did you know this about Coach Saban? Coach Saban has won 8 straight championship games, meaning SEC titles and national titles. That's 8 straight. Saturday will be Coach Saban's 48th game coaching Alabama as the #1 team. That's #1 all time. He's won 42 of those games. Boy, that's ain't. I told you.
Who's your researcher? What's his name? We got to applaud him. What's his name?
Alabama, hold up. Alabama have scored 9 non-offensive touchdowns. Double closest. That good?
In the SEC.
You smell that? Alabama, they got a stanker down there.
Stanker.
Ooh,
Yeah, they
got
do.
a
Sometimes
stanker down there,
you know what? In my definition of stanker, they had one against Chad Kelly. You know, that was a stanker. 48-43, really?
At one point, we got 23 points in their place.
Wow. Got some bad calls. Chad Kelly should have won that game.
Should have.
All right, back to Joy's question.
Okay.
So, my 4 are Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Washington, just as you had those 4. Because I do believe that Wisconsin will win, Washington will win. By the way, my Sooners will win big over Oklahoma State, and they will be a factor in this if there's an upset anywhere. If Penn State wins, it could get dicey. It could open the back door for Stoops and company.
So if let's just say for the sake of argument, Clemson or Washington were to lose, who do you think should get that 4th spot?
Okay, I've said this to you. I told you yesterday. I've said it all along. The best defense in college football belongs to Jim Harbaugh's Michigan. Do I think Michigan is better than Clemson? I do. Do I think Michigan's better than Washington? I do. Does Michigan belong in my Final Four the way I would see it? I test Final Four. You better believe it. And I heard coaches all through the offseason again and again say, we want our committee to identify the 4 best teams. Doesn't matter about conference champion or what, blah, blah, blah. No criteria except the best 4 teams. Is Michigan one of the best 4? You know and I know Michigan is one. Michigan came within what you thought was a bad call on the spot on J.T. Barrett and a bad call on 2 pass interferences of winning at Ohio State. That's all I need to know. If you got Ohio State in, I got Michigan in too. But they won't be in.
But you keep telling me Michigan has a great defense. Is this one of the best teams? Yeah, if you want to just talk about defense, but I'm going to tell you like I told Ray. Ray, you have one of the all-time great defenses, but you can't go nowhere without us.
Okay.
So what about Michigan's offense?
Okay, what did Michigan do to Penn State? 49-10. 49. They scored 49 points on Penn State, who is in the conference championship game.
Let me ask you a question. Was that week 1, week 2, or week 3?
I don't care. It all counts. It's just resume.
You've rewarded Michigan by moving them up and keeping them in the rankings. You've punished Penn State by dropping them. At what time do you start punishing teams for losing 2 out of their last 3 games? Because that's what happened. Now, you want to knock Alabama completely out if they lose to Florida.
Yeah.
Here's a team that's lost 2 of their last 3.
What was the toughest conference in America? It was the Big Ten. So they get points for that because they had to play through that schedule. And obviously you have to take into consideration the quarterback got hurt late in the Iowa game when they were up 13-11. They would have closed the deal with a healthy quarterback. They lost because he couldn't throw the football.
How do we know he didn't close the deal? They had a 17-7 lead over Ohio State.
They did. And what happened? He threw, he handed 14 points.
So how do we know he
to Ohio State, and then he took away 7 from Michigan.
How do we know he wouldn't have done that in the Iowa game?
You know what? Michigan outplayed Ohio State except for the quarterback.
Can I get back to my Alabama team? Alabama won 4.
You mean ain't Nick's team?
Alabama has won 14 straight against ranked opponents. 2 wins away from tying the 05 USC record at 16. Well, we know that's going to happen because they finna thump Florida. Alabama, I like, reading is fun. You know what I said? The commercial, reading is fun. Alabama won 4 straight against ranked opponents early this season. First, #1 team to do that since the 2001 Hurricane.
Wait, Chris Healy just said we need to wrap.
No, he didn't say that.
Yes, he did.
I didn't hear nothing.
He did.
I didn't hear nothing.
Because we're all tired of hearing this.
No, say
Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares.
What do you want for Christmas, Skip? You want a Saint Nick sweater?
I want an Ain't Nick sweater.
Saint
That's what I
Nick.
want. I want something that says Ain't Nick.
I want you to say it.
The coach's defense gave up 43 to Chad Kelly this year. That's the best team.
When it's all said and done, Alabama's going to be the first team in NCAA history
to be
so 15-0.
You know, Florida has a pretty good defense. This could be interesting. This could be low scoring, maybe big upset. Who knows? Wouldn't I love that? Wouldn't I love to come in on Monday?
I know you would.
Woo.
But you know how you going to come in Monday? They played the Florida Gators, who all should have lost to my Virginia Vanderbilt Commodore.
Get it right,
I know what you're going to say, Skip. You're going to try to find a way to discredit my guy. But St. Nick is the gold standard of coaching.
No mercy. This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast, where we're delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1, follow on Twitter at Undisputed, and catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. Thanks for listening. Today is a great day to celebrate a Giving Tuesday. I'm Joy Taylor. Join us tomorrow when we're 150 on Dish. Snoop Dogg will be in studio. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.